things that I want to build upon some remarks that Mott made. First of all, you just announced that town offices would be closed on July the 3rd as well as July the 4th, but town hall will be open in order to allow for the scanning activity that Mott mentioned. So don't let the fact that the offices are not open deter you from coming in and using that scanning capability. Secondly, I want to mention that we don't want it to rain on the parade. I think that's a song. It did rain on the Flag Day event that we had on June the 14th, but I was impressed and pleased to see the hardy souls of Clifton Forge come out to be a part of that event. It's always a very stirring event because the history of our flag is repeated. We hear the Red Skeleton story of the meaning of the words in the Pledge of Allegiance and some beautiful songs. So it was the kickoff really for our celebration of both our independence but of our nation. I would just encourage everybody to get out their flags, to wear red, white, and blue, and to pray with us that we have a beautiful day on the 4th of July. I want to also mention that I felt a little bit like the boy who cried wolf in the theater. You've heard that story. We were informed early last week that they would be blasting part of the area for Hickory Avenue. That was originally to occur on Thursday. Then it was going to occur on Friday. Then we were informed it was going to occur on Monday, and each day we put out notices on Facebook, on our website. I had one of our employees go and give notices to all the employees in the Kroger complex as well as the Easy Pass so that people wouldn't be alarmed, although they told us there would be minimal ground movement and probably no sound. And then I got a message about 11 o'clock, I think, today saying it would be at 2 o'clock today. So we quickly put that message on again, but I thought, people aren't going to believe us after a while. But it did, in fact, go off very smoothly at 2 o'clock. Most people didn't realize that it had happened. So I just want to report that we're not going to get a message that says we're blasting on Wednesday, now that we've been through the last 4 days. And finally, I want to share a piece of news that has really put me in a funk for the last several days. I went back and looked in my email, and I've been working on a project for 4.5 years now on behalf of the town. That was to bring the Kroger Fuel Center to our community, and as many of you know, Kroger actually entered into a purchase agreement about 1.5 years ago now with some contingencies, knowing that first of all the road had to be in place, and certainly we had to wait for word that we had sufficient funds for the road construction. But then I received this letter, and I'd like to just read the letter to you all so that you can appreciate what I've learned through this correspondence. It says, "Dear Darlene, since I last visited with you in town council, I have been on the proposed site of the Hickory Avenue Kroger Fuel Center on 2 occasions. I have received input from our civil engineer, Flecker Construction, our geotechnical advisor, and Kroger Supermarket Petroleum Group. It has been determined that Kroger cannot move forward with the purchase of the town property or build this fuel center. The cost of the fuel center will be excessive and will not provide an adequate return. In addition, the elevations of the fuel center and its access are unacceptable and don't meet our criteria. Based on the fact that we will not get Supermarket Petroleum Group's approval for this project, we will be unable to get funding approval as stipulated in Section 3.3 of the agreement. Kroger hereby terminates this agreement and the parties shall have no further obligations. I regret that this location did not work out for Kroger in the town. However, I will continue to search for an acceptable site on which Kroger can build an operated fuel center. Thank you for your assistance on this potential project." And it's signed by Fenton Childers, who is the real estate manager out of their Mid-Atlantic market and the gentleman that I've been working with since January of 2013. Very sad news, but also a commitment on their part to try to find another location for a fuel center in our area. And I did suggest to him when I spoke to him after receiving the letter that we needed a consolation prize since we weren't going to get the fuel center on the site. And my suggestion was that they renovate and or enlarge the store. There were no commitments to that, but he certainly is aware of the town's concern about the adequacy of both the size of that store as well as the parking. We will do what we can to try to help Kroger find an acceptable alternative site, but I wanted to share with the community exactly the correspondence that we received as to their decision. It's disheartening in many respects, but I will tell you, I've been in this business a long time, and there are disappointments along the way, and as Mr. Olchin, I think, said when I advised the council, that retail is fickle, was his word. But it was their decision. Certainly the town had done everything that we could, and in fact we had encouraged them to meet with Clifton, who is the contractor that's doing Hickory Avenue, with the hope that perhaps working with that particular contractor might help them on the cost side of the equation. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Sorry I don't have better news.